Hey e-commerce marketing podcast listener, I wanted to let you know that we have created 16 e-commerce marketing videos for you. You can download these free videos by visiting ecommercemarketingpodcast.com/videos or by texting the word videos to +1 480 418 1411. These step-by-step video marketing tutorials will teach you how to drive more traffic to your e-commerce website, how to get more backlinks to your e-commerce website, and how to optimize your website to get more paid customers. Get the videos right now by visiting ecommercemarketingpodcast.com/videos or by texting videos to +1 480 418 1411. Welcome to the e-commerce marketing podcast. Today's guest is John Tucker. John is the founder and CEO of helpflow.net. Helpflow is a done-for-you live chat service for e-commerce stores. They are available to chat with your visitors all day, every day to answer their questions while they browse your site, which helps the visitors and increase conversions for your business. Welcome to the podcast, John. How are you doing?
Thank you so much for having me, Robert. I'm excited.
Yeah, if you can just give us a quick background on Helpflow, how you started the service, what was your motivation?
Yeah, definitely. I ran a marketing agency, an internet marketing agency for many years, started in 2005, did website design and driving traffic and conversions. And, Helpflow kind of was born out of that experience. We got to the point about probably 3 or 4 years ago where we did well driving traffic for people, but we got to the point where we really wanted to focus on increasing conversions. And we tested having live chat on a couple of our client websites at the time. We installed, I think it was Live Chat Inc. or Olark on one of the many softwares that are out there. We installed it on the client site. The client ran it for a couple days. It worked really, really well. They were really happy. And then they stopped running it. They didn't use the live chat service. And so we kind of got to a point with a couple of clients where they knew live chat was effective, but they didn't want to run it. And with one client in particular, they didn't have time to run it was the issue. With one client in particular, I said, Mark, let me run this for you for a week just so I can build the results and show you you guys need to hire somebody to do this. And he said, all right, we'll give you a shot. He said, how are you going to answer the questions? How are you possibly going to know what you're doing? And I said, don't worry about that. I'll figure that out. We had a good relationship. So he gave me a shot there and it worked really well. I ran it for a week, answered the questions, generated a ton of leads. He saw the data. And I come to the next meeting and I tell him, all right, you guys got to hire somebody. This clearly works. And he said, why can't you just run it for us? Why can't you just do this for us forever? Mm-hmm. And so Helpflow kind of came out of situations like that. Multiple clients ended up in that same exact spot where they said, great, you can run it. What do you charge? What will you charge us additional to run this? And so I said, let me come back to you in a couple of weeks. And we built a team and kind of figured some things out from there. And, Helpflow was born. And so that was, we started doing chat probably 3 or 4 years ago for clients, launched Helpflow as a standalone brand in 2014 and have been focused on that ever since. So we do a ton of chat for a lot of e-commerce stores. It's a done-for-you chat service.
Wow. So it really, that kind of works out for your company. When you started out with one service and then you found this need, you're able to fulfill and have this niche where you can go after people. So it really worked out for you and it also works out for your customers. And just for the listeners, today we're actually going to be talking about live chat and how it's going to help your business. But to go back to your story, you said you're trying to get traffic to the business, trying to get people to visit, but to help increase the conversions from all the traffic you're generating for the business, live chat proved to be one of the tools that really helped increase those conversions, correct? Or why did you stick to live chat? Are there other methods you looked at? And why was live chat more successful?
There's a lot of methods. You've got a ton of episodes. And so I know that you guys have gone into, a lot of different topics. But with live chat specifically, it just makes sense, right? In the real world, offline, right? In the real human world, if you walked into a department store like a Nordstrom's or, a high-end place and you looked confused or you were kind of looking walking around kind of lost, an employee of the store is going to see that. They're going to notice that you probably have a question, and they're going to walk up and say, hey, can I help you with anything? I can show you around or something, right? And then you're going to feel well taken care of, and then you're going to probably make the purchase that you came there to make. Live chat is the way you do that on a website. It's just human help through a website. So the reason why we focused in on live chat is first of all, it just made sense. And then as we started to track it, we tracked the results within Google Analytics, and we were able to see just insane conversion increases from this. So the data backed it up as well. But I think to answer the question, like, why did we focus on live chat? At the time, it just made sense, and it was pretty easy to get started and say, okay, let's test this with a client. And, the results were great. Now we're 2 or 3 years later, and we're still doing chat. So it was a good choice for us.
Okay, another thing I'm going to mention for the listeners right now is at HelpFlow, you guys came up with this definitive guide on live chat, and people can find it when they visit the livechatguide.com. And a lot of the things we're going to be covering today are actually things you've already detailed extensively in that guide. Again, the guide is the livechatguide.com. With the tracking you did with Google Analytics, you said you're looking at the conversions. So what type of results did you see or have you seen when you've handled thousands of chats for all your customers?
Yeah, we've seen some really cool results. And just for the listener to understand like how this is tracked, every chat that we do is sent to Google Analytics of our customer as an event. And basically what that means is you can filter all of your Google Analytics reports to say, show me the people that chatted versus the people that didn't chat. So the specific metric that we look at is the conversion rate for people that we chatted with compared to the conversion rate for people that did not chat. And across the board, we see an average of 3 to 9 or 10 times the conversion rate for people that we chat with compared to people that don't chat. So what that means is if we chat with somebody, they're 3 to 10 times more likely to purchase than for somebody that doesn't chat. So that's one metric we look at is, does live chat actually help people end up converting? And the answer is a clear yes from the data we have. Another data point that we look at is, what does this do to your entire site's conversion rate? Every site's different. Your traffic sources are different. The products you sell are different. So, everyone's going to see a different type of increase. But we see situations all the time where, a conversion rate is a certain percent before HelpFlow, before we start work with somebody. And then as enough data gathers and, the sample size is big enough, we see the conversion rate for the entire site, not just the people we chatted with, but for the whole site increase by 1 or 2x. So 100 to 200% increase on site-wide conversion rate just from using chat. And so, the data we see is really, really strong. But to answer the question, people that we chat with are 3 to 10 times more likely to purchase. And, depending on where you're starting from, you could double your conversion rates just by using chat. And I want to be really clear, I don't want to be super promotional here. All we do is chat. So those are the results that we see, but you'll see in the live chat guide or just by, using live chat yourself, you'll see results. It works because you're helping your visitors when they're on your site. So you don't have to use HelpFlow, but the concept of using chat increases conversions on e-commerce stores.
So what is it about live chat that actually drives the sales and the conversions?
I think the main thing is that, it just makes sense. People have questions when they're on your website. You already get people coming to your website. And if the only option is for them to, pick up the phone and call you and say, hey, I got a question about, the specifications on this product, or, find a contact form, or even if you make it really easy to, submit an email through the site, if those are the only two options, only the most dedicated people are going to do that. It's fairly high friction to expect somebody to pick up the phone and ask you a really simple question. The reason why chat works really well is it's really easy for them to click the chat box and ask the question. But one of the things that we do, and that everybody that does live chat should do, is we invite people to chat based on what they're doing on the site. So if we see that the visitor has a question based on what they're doing on the site, we'll invite them to chat and they'll respond and say, actually, yeah, I had a quick question. What's the specifications on this product or that product? So it works because people have questions, and it's a lot to ask of visitors to say, pick up the phone and call us if you have any questions, or just buy today. You lose a lot of people if you don't have an easy way to get those answers.
Okay. With HelpFlow, you just don't tell customers, you're not telling businesses, hey, just add the live chat system, and if somebody visits, a pop-up immediately comes up, and that's going to increase sales. You're not saying that. You're saying there's actually like a secret sauce or a method, or there's certain things that you guys are doing with live chat that is actually going to help increase the sales. So, one thing you just mentioned was you invite them to chat when you see they have a problem. Because I guess I'm asking this question because I've gone to websites and immediately a chat pops up. I haven't even taken any action. And sometimes I immediately close the window because I need to take some time to look at the website, see what I'm looking at. So I'm asking, what's the secret sauce? What are the things businesses need to be doing with the live chat system? And like, what are the rules? What are the commandments of live chat?
Honestly, the rules are really simple. And, for the listener, they're going to look at this and say like, wow, like that's the secret. But I'm going to explain like why this matters. Our entire focus as a company is just to make the experience for your visitor absolutely awesome. Make it as awesome as possible. Make it so they feel really well taken care of. And we know from our data that if we do that, everything else takes care of itself. The conversions work, the sales work, the visitors come back. All the sales data points take care of themselves if you make sure that the visitors are really happy and it's an awesome experience. So a couple things that you mentioned there is, you've been to websites where chat box pops up right away. Right? That's not an awesome experience for you because it's like you haven't even had time to come up with a question or look at the site and already like this pop-up's happening. So that's one thing that's important to get right is use pop-ups, invite people to chat for sure, but be careful when you do it. Make sure it's like the right time for the visitor. Same thing if you walked into a Nordstrom's, to go back to that example. You might walk into a department store. If somebody immediately appeared out of thin air right when you're opening the door and said, "Hey, can I help you?" It'd be kind of weird, right? Like you haven't been able to get in there yet. So again, awesome experience. Make it an awesome experience. Everything else takes care of itself. Couple other examples of that is the messaging you use. When you invite somebody to chat, do not say, hey, we're having a sale today. Like if you buy today, you'll get 50% off or something. Like don't integrate this hardcore sales stuff into any of the conversation. Definitely not into that greeting. Because again, if somebody walked up to you on the street and said, buy this, buy this, buy this, like you're probably not going to buy it. And so again, awesome visitor experience. So everything that we do and everything that you should do if you use chat is just keep in mind that these are not website visitors. These are not hits in Google Analytics. These are not page views. Like these are real human beings, other end of the chat, that are interested in your products. So if you just take good care of them like you would face to face when you see somebody, all the other stuff will take care of itself. So that's kind of the secret sauce, I guess, of what we do is focus on making the visitor's experience awesome. When you invite people to chat, when you conduct the chats, the way you answer some of the questions, that's really the key thing to focus on here.
Okay, and what about technical support? Do you also do technical support as a service for some of these businesses, or are you just focusing mainly on sales questions and trying to provide a good customer experience, but mainly for sales?
So it depends on the extent of technical support needed. Most of what we do, most of the value we provide is pre-sales service and support. So anything before they purchase or while they're purchasing. But we do handle a lot of the front end questions when people come back and they say, hey, I ordered last week. I never got my order. What's going on? So, we can check order status. We can get tracking numbers. We can, do a whole range of things. If somebody comes back and, they purchased some really complicated product and they're trying to like put it together at their house and there's some technical questions. At that point, we usually have a process in place to hand that off to the customer's team because, at a certain point, like it's got to be the customer, doing really in-depth technical support type of stuff. But we're definitely the front lines really for all of our customers' questions. But most of what we do is definitely, before the sale, while the sale's happening, and maybe, while they're waiting for the actual package to arrive, wondering where this thing's at. So all e-commerce stores, so it fits in really well with them. But we do some, post-purchase technical support as well.
Okay. And how long does it take you? It sounds like, if a business approaches you and says, hey, can you guys do the live chat for me? How long does it take you guys to train, to learn that business's specific service so that you'll be able to answer the questions or understand their website visitor?
Yeah, and that is the most common question we get, right? Like, how are you possibly going to help my visitors? Like, you don't know anything about my business. And that is the most important part of this business, right? That's the hardest part. It's the most important part. And that's where we focused all of our time from literally day one in the business. I could say that it's a secret sauce. It's really not. It's just really hard to get right. But we have a couple things that we've learned and a way that we do that. We have the onboarding process, which is basically from sign up to launch. We do a number of different things. One of those things is we know what questions are going to get asked regardless of what you sell. We do chat for a ton of e-commerce stores and we track all of the questions that get asked. So we know regardless of what you sell, whether you sell coffee mugs or computers, you're going to get asked about, shipping times, warranties, free shipping, return policies, material, possibly maybe for the coffee mug, not for the computer, specifications. You're going to get asked a whole range of questions. We already know those questions in advance, so we'll make sure that we get those during the onboarding process. And then we also have a pretty deep way that we dig in to specific product and expertise questions related to your business. So, we would pull in any FAQs or knowledge-based information that you already have. We pull that into our system. We go through some direct questions during the onboarding process with you related to different categories of products on your site. And then we also ask some really specific indirect questions. So rather than saying, when somebody buys, these, custom computer screen covers or something, rather than saying what questions are they going to ask us, we will ask, what factors matter when somebody chooses between these different covers? If somebody's using it outdoor versus indoor, is a certain cover better than another? We will ask a lot of indirect questions, kind of like a customer would to you, and that helps us decipher what some of the product specific questions are. So there's a ton of stuff that goes on during that onboarding process. And all of that happens within 5 business days. It didn't always happen that quickly, but we've gotten really good at that through our time in this business is, making it really comprehensive, very methodical, but also very streamlined for the customer. So it happens very quickly, 5 business days. And then after we launch, we're always updating that knowledge base. So, anytime we refer a question to one of our customers, when the customer answers that question for the visitor, they will BCC our system, and that will actually update our knowledge base. So anytime that you have to answer a question, you're feeding us additional information in a pretty passive way. And then we also, ask for FAQ updates. We give you resources that you can use to give us more FAQ updates. So that knowledge base is a constantly updated resource that we use. But, we've been very methodical about this from day one to make sure that, we have the resources we need to do an awesome job for your visitors. And the ultimate vision for us, honestly, is to be able to do this service for any e-commerce store better than you could do internally with your team. We're working on a lot of technology to make it so that we have more comprehensive information, we have the information at the right time, and we can basically do it better than you would be able to do internally for most of the questions that you get. Because most of the questions are not really in-depth technical related things. So we're well on our way to that. But to answer your question, it's fast and it's very methodical.
And for the businesses that decide not to use a service like yours, they want to do it internally, are you guys generous where you provide those questions from your knowledge base as a download or a PDF? I mean, some of those frequently asked questions, and then maybe some of e-commerce businesses can use that sample or that template for their company.
That's actually something we are looking at doing. We're getting into a lot of paid traffic and other ways to grow the business just to basically scale up now that we've kind of figured things out. And that's one of the things we're looking at is creating resources for e-commerce stores to use to provide great customer experiences to their visitors and kind of indirectly showing the value of what we do. So providing, an FAQ database, potentially providing some FAQ storage tools, providing a lot of the tools that we use so that you can see, how magical this can be for your business. And then as part of that, it'll be clear that we do this as a service. And what we've found is that once businesses see that live chat works, they usually don't have the resources internally to run it all day, every day. And so, it kind of logically leads to having a service like ours use it. So definitely that's something that we're looking at. And if any audience members are interested, you can shoot me an email through helpflow.net. We can get you some additional resources, but we're going to be creating some cool campaigns around doing that in the very near future.
Okay, and going back to handling live chat for your website, what are some best practices people should follow when they're dealing or when their goal with live chat is increasing sales and just providing a better customer experience?
Yeah, there's a number of different things. I'll start with kind of the mistakes that stores make, so you can make sure you're not making those mistakes, and then also some of like the more advanced things you can do. And so these are all best practice related things, but I'll come at it from kind of two angles. The first thing that's really, really like super duper important to get right is make sure that you respond quickly when people ask you a question. And this sounds super basic, but remember, like the visitor's experience is really important. You mentioned that automatic pop-up that happened to you on another website right when you visited. If somebody gets that invite to chat and then they reply and they say, actually, yes, I have a question. What's this specification or something? If you don't respond within a few seconds, like 6 to 10 seconds maximum, it is a really bad experience for the visitor. And a lot of companies, when they start using live chat, they really don't take this into consideration. They set up all these automatic pop-ups, but they don't have the team ready to manage things, or they don't, sign out of the live chat software when they're not available. And so they end up in a situation where like people are trying to chat with them, and then nobody's responding, or they're taking 30 or 45 seconds to respond. That actually hurts the experience for the visitor. And so a lot of people have bad experiences with live chat because of that. So the first best practice is make sure you track your response times to that first message and all response times, and make sure your first response time, which is the time it takes you to reply to the visitor's first question, is less than 10 seconds. That's really, really important. Couple other things is, make sure you're inviting people to chat based on what they're doing on your site. So when somebody is browsing your site, when they hit certain pages, if they put something in the shopping cart and then back out, you can get pretty advanced with this. But a lot of companies that use live chat, they just have this really small click to chat box somewhere on the site or button, and that's going to miss out on a lot of people that have questions that want your help. So definitely invite people to chat. On that note, don't manually invite people to chat. That's something you can do that in almost every live chat tool. But we encounter a lot of businesses that like they're using live chat and they say, yeah, like I just watch people when they're on the site. I watch my computer screen and I click the invite button, but like nobody responds, or it's not enough responses. It's absolutely crazy to sit there and spend your time manually watching people on the site and then invite them. You can do this automatically in a way that doesn't look automatic to your customers. So configure rules of when to invite people. Don't invite them more than once. If they close the chat box, don't invite them on the same visit, even if they go to other pages, because it just gets kind of annoying. So those are some of like the basics. Make sure that you respond really quickly. Make sure you're inviting people to chat based on what they're doing on the site, and make sure you're not, annoying people with, how you're doing those invites and doing those responses. Those are some of the basic things to get right. As far as like advanced tactics, there's a couple different things that matter. I mentioned inviting people to chat based on, what they're doing. Another thing that's really important is like make your automatic greetings, really low pressure and personal. You can also use chat templates pretty well. It's important that your visitors don't know that these are like just templates, but it's also important for your efficiency to be able to do that. And so whether it's you or your team doing it, you want to have some templated answers that the team can use as a starting point and then modify, because you'll notice you'll get asked like the same questions pretty consistently. So if you're manually typing those out, that is definitely not the most efficient way to do it. Use a chat tool that enables you to see some of the past chats from a visitor. That way you have context and you can see like, oh, they asked, Joe this question yesterday and now they're chatting with Robert, but you can see all of the history. A lot of systems will enable you to integrate order numbers and e-commerce data. So if that person has purchased on your Shopify site, well, you can integrate their purchase history in there. So that way you could see, when they say, hey, my order hasn't arrived, what's going on? And that's all they told you. You can say, oh, are you talking about the coffee mug you ordered on Monday? I see that that's, that just arrived in Tampa, Florida. I know you're based in Tampa. It should get to your house today. And that way they just say, where's my order? You already have all the context at that point and you answer the question. They might not even notice that, like, how did you know all that stuff? But again, awesome visitor experience because you're helping them, you're answering the question, and you're doing it with technology. I mean, that's kind of a laundry list of all the different things to consider. The live chat guide that you mentioned earlier on our website, thelivechatguide.com, there's no email opt-in or any weird way to get that. It's just content on our site, and that goes into a lot of detail on some of this stuff, but those are the basics.
You just mentioned some tools and technology for live chat. So what tools would you recommend that you think businesses should be using for their live chat?
There's a ton of different tools, and there's always new ones coming out. But the ones that I recommend are basically tools that have a couple really specific features, because not every live chat software has these features. But first of all, can you invite people to chat automatically? That's number one. A lot of chat systems offer that, so that's an important feature. Can you route chats to different people based on who they've chatted with before or based on what pages they're on the site? So if somebody comes back to the site and they chatted with me like 10 minutes ago, you as my team member should not get the chat. I should get the chat because I'm still here. So that's super important. Not all systems offer that. And then, are the chats optimized for mobile devices? There's a lot of different factors that matter, but those are some of the main ones. And as far as like the very specific tools, the ones that I would look at if you're going to use this is livechatinc.com. That one from our research and kind of what we've dug into is really the best one if you want to start doing more advanced things. So livechatinc.com is one. Zopim.com is another. That's Zopim.com. And then Olark, Olark. Those three are kind of industry standard tools, but frankly, like, unless you're doing some really advanced stuff or you're chatting on a ton of different sites, all three of those are gonna solve your problems. And there's probably 20 other tools that would also solve your problems. Don't get too hung up on the software. Just make sure that you're making it a good experience for your visitor.
Any final thoughts on just live chats and e-commerce businesses, or just providing the best experience for customers?
Yeah, I mean, in general, just keep in mind that you're trying to help your visitors. We encounter so many sites, and everybody's been in this situation where like they just get sold, they get pushed on products. Just remember that you're chatting with a human. So just keep that in mind. And this human is interested in your business, so you don't want to annoy them. Make the visitor's experience awesome. And definitely, if you haven't used live chat before, like give it a try yourself. You do not need to immediately go to a service like ours. I think you will eventually, but you can do this stuff yourself, or you can do this internally with your team. We believe that every e-commerce store should have chat, should have a real person on it helping visitors, because that's just the way business is done offline. And there's really no reason why it shouldn't be done online like that. So definitely use live chat. And this is one of those things that if you get it right, this is something that can set you apart from competitors. This is something that can set you apart from Amazon. If you're in a niche where Amazon is just, destroying your industry, Amazon can't do customer service in real time the same way that other businesses can. So this is one of those things that, Amazon might be able to undercut you on price, but they will not be able to undercut you on real-time service. So that's another thing to consider. But as far as just final thoughts, try live chat. The livechatguide.com has a lot of resources you can use to, have a roadmap of how to do this. All of the live chat softwares that I just recommended have pretty generous free trials. Some of them are 30 days, I think. And honestly, there's free live chat software out there too. So if, money is a concern, there are free ones. Usually they're pretty limited. Try it out, get it going on your site, and just remember that you're chatting with real people. Make it an awesome experience for them, and you'll see awesome conversion results.
Thanks, John, for coming on the show and covering everything on live chat. If people wanted to reach you, how can they reach you?
Yeah, the best way to reach me is at helpflow.net. That's HELP flow.net. We got a lot of resources on there. You can contact us through the contact page or chat with us, obviously. But yeah, that's the best way to reach me. And then if anyone has any direct questions about this episode, you can contact me there. I'll monitor the comments on this episode on the show notes as well. I'm pretty easy to reach. Helpflow.net, or in the comments of this post. I'm happy to help with any questions people have.
Okay, the last question. What is the one thing an e-commerce business can do right now to grow?
I think the one thing that a store can do to grow is sign up for a free trial of one of the live chat softwares that I mentioned. Get it onto your site, or have your web developer get it onto the site. They're really easy. If you use Shopify, BigCommerce, or any of the other big platforms, there's tools these chat softwares use that will make it like 1 or 2 clicks to put it on your site. But get it on your site and start chatting with your visitors and kind of see what's on their minds. You already get traffic to your store. You're already generating sales. There are more people that would buy on your site if you'll help them with their questions. So I would say the thing to do today is sign up for a free trial of one of these tools, Live Chat Inc., Olark, or Zopim. Get it on your site and start chatting with people and see where it goes from there. Take action, implementing this.
Okay, John, again, thanks for coming on the show and providing and sharing the resources on live chat.
Thank you so much, Robert. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for listening to the e-commerce marketing podcast. Join the e-commerce marketing podcast Facebook group to learn, connect, collaborate, and grow with other e-commerce marketers at ecommercemarketingpodcast.com/FB. ecommercemarketingpodcast.com/FB. Subscribe to us on iTunes by searching for e-commerce marketing podcast, and please leave a rating and a review. Thank you for listening. See you next time.